A director whose talents embrace opera, theatre, dance, visual arts and film. Who better than to direct the Wagnerian dream of a total work of art, expressed here in the opera Tristan and Isolde. Peter Sellars has brought his talents to the stage here in Paris, and the multi-award-winning director joins us in the studio to tell us about that monumental undertaking. Peter, thanks for being here.
Well, hello.
Now, your production of Tristan and Isolde is on at the Opera Bastille. This is Wagner's great poem of love and death. You once said that Tristan is not an opera, it's a life experience. So what should that existential experience be?
It has to be, by definition, overwhelming. It has to be more. It's this weird thing. We're living in a world where we're immersed in everything, and yet it's reduced to triviality. And something has to say, no, the time we're living in is epic. We actually have to recognize this huge scope. So for Wagner, this total work of art is not just combining art and poetry and music. It's also, what does it feel like to be alive now? Where is all this anger coming from? Where's all this craziness? Where's all this appalling injustice? And where is love?
Wow, a very philosophical approach then. Let's get a feel for that production. This is Mary Elizabeth Williams singing Isolde. Now we can see just behind Mary Elizabeth, there's a video screen which functions as a backdrop of sorts. These films are by the artist Bill Viola, I believe. Can you tell us about how they work together with what's happening on stage with the singers and why you wanted this visual aspect?
Well, when Wagner was writing this music, the Liebestod, this incredible moment of forgiveness, of vision, of seeing a world that is beautiful instead of just constantly seeing a world that's ugly. Wagner was in Venice. He went every day to the Brera Gallery to see this painting of Titian, of the Virgin, lifting up into the air, surrounded by pinks and oranges and reds and violets. Everyone down below was saying, oh my God, the Virgin has died. And they're looking down to the floor, weeping. And she says, no, look up. Look up, I'm exalted, I'm free. And so what Mary Elizabeth is singing is, friends, look up.
So that directs us to the film. Okay, so this production has been many years in the making, or perhaps the perfecting, because I believe you started working on the so-called Tristan project almost 20 years ago in Los Angeles. It's been performed in different ways, in different places. What would you say has been the revelation for you about this opera? Something that might have surprised you back at the start?
Well, again, the way Wagner was looking at Titian, he was looking at a great visual artist whose work goes beyond the surface of reality. Titian is always peeling the skin off and saying, what's underneath the skin? Bill Viola is one of the great artists of our time who created, with a small group of people, video art, an art form that did not exist before we were on Earth. And its flickering reality of video combines television news and the instability and fragility and impermanence of the world, which takes you into these Buddhist realms, these realms that say, okay, what are we on Earth for, and what happened to us before we came here, and where are we going? And Wagner is opening the world to those questions. Every time we work on Tristan and Isolde, we have a completely new life experience, but the last 3 years, coming through all of this period of COVID, all this period of new dictatorships all over the world, all this period of incredible environmental violence, which exists in our bodies. And so this piece is, can I just say, such a gift to the soul and a balm to the heart, because right now everybody's out there just suffering and letting off steam and getting angry randomly. And you want to say, no, recognize what we're living through. We're living through something deep.
Now, we mentioned Bill Viola. You've worked with a roll call of some of the most inspiring composers, singers, visual artists, performers working today. But someone who does share your sensibility for a multi-sensorial approach or experience of art is Finnish composer Kaya Saariaho. Now, you're both recipients of the prestigious Polar Prize for music. You've worked together a lot, and you directed her contemporary opera, which is called Only the Sound Remains, here in Paris in 2017. Let's take a look.
Its color smell is mysterious. I see it is surely no common dress. I will take it now and return.
Now, Kaya has a unique approach to opera. She uses masses of sound, recorded material. Tell us about working with her. What was the creative collaboration like?
Kaya is working in a world of color, invisible color, this world that is inside of breath. There's color. Inside your mind is color. Inside your heart is color. This color that's moving through your life with every breath. Kaya writes the music of the vibrations that are moving through your whole being, through your whole body, through your whole mind. And we did these Japanese no plays translated by Ezra Pound with, of course, the great visual artist Julie Moretu, creating these incredible backdrops. There you see the great dancer Nora Kimball from the Frankfurt Ballet. You see Devon Tynes, who has just been named the most important singer in America this year. And of course, Philippe Jarouski, the great star. This gathering of people is the pleasure of the art form of opera. Opera is just the plural of the Italian word for work. It means when we're going to work, do it in the plural. Do it with everyone. Do it with many voices. Do it with many points of view. Do it with many art forms. Do it with many cultures. Keep everything in the plural. That's what the world is right now. Not singular. It's too late for singular. It's about what do we share and how do we share it.
Now, we do tend to associate that sort of experimental avant-garde opera, contemporary opera, with the 21st century, but it does go back quite a lot further. You moved to Paris with your family, I believe, in the 1980s, early 80s, and you experienced some of the cutting-edge productions that were happening here at the time. What struck you about what was going on then in Paris?
Well, what was great was the American avant-garde moved to Paris in the 70s, which was fantastic, but also, thrillingly, Paris was the place you could see Cambodian dancers. Paris was the place you could see Javanese shadow puppets. Paris was the place that, the entire world met, and Pacific Island dancers, the greatest singers from Persian tradition, all appear in Paris. And so for me, Paris was also a key to the rest of the world and a place where the world comes to talk and where this gathering of artistic kind of vibration is so exhilarating and at the same time colonialist and for sale. And so the question is, can we advance that to a new world where we're not just, Cambodian dancers are not exotic, they're actually communicating a need for freedom in a very powerful tradition that is about human fragility and incredible grace under pressure.
Now, alongside your activities in opera, you're also a director, curator of the Telluride Film Festival. You're a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. And speaking of the Oscars, Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett recently said, as she picked up her Golden Globe, that these sort of awards are ridiculous and a bit arbitrary, that there are lots of great performances across the industry that should be highlighted, not just one. What do you think? Do you still think we need these accolades?
Well, anything that gives visibility to something that doesn't have visibility, yes, bring on the awards, but also surprise us by giving awards to people we don't know. Because it's now time, there are two generations of artists we haven't met yet. We still met the same group over and over and over again. Now it's time to say, yes, we love Tom Cruise. Who else is out there? What else is happening? And so for me, the more the arts awards people really select something we haven't seen and we need to see, and the voices we haven't heard and we need to hear, Thank you.
Now, finally, we asked you what's on your cultural radar, something you've enjoyed recently, and you flagged up a choreographer, Faustin Lignacula. Tell us about what you loved about this work.
Well, Faustin is one of the world's great artists. He works from Kisangani in Congo, which is, of course, the city of tears, a city where 2 million people were killed, in battles 20 years ago. It's such an intense place to be. Faustin speaks from this part of the world so powerfully about levels of violence and dreaming and hope and imagination that exist all over the world in places where there have not been microphones. And Faustin picks the microphone up and uses it, and he speaks from literally every cell in his body. He's a great dancer. He puts the power and weight of his archive, as he calls it. His archive is his body.
Well, thank you very much for that tip. We'll be following that one up. And thank you so much for joining us today, Peter Sellars. And a reminder that Tristan and Isolde is on at the Opera Bastille, and Faustin's show, My Body, My Archive, is going to be on stage here in Paris in June. We'll leave you with a clip of that show. Do remember you can get more arts and culture on our website and our social media channels. Thanks for tuning in.